Instagram, I don't know. Oh, look, this. We are live. We are, oh my gosh, it's like bang, bang, bang. You know, like the live just come in any way, shape, or form. It's doing great. Welcome to the Real Football Fans in New Jersey, episode 122. You know what? We've been around for 122 episodes. You know what? It never gets old.
It doesn't. I'm always excited for Wednesday, always being like, okay, midweek. It's
You
been,
love
the work week
Wednesday
is tough, but you get wine and you get to gab about house size and football. What's better than
with
that?
your best friend. I mean, honestly, like I'm all about it. But I know I did post on our Instagram today that we were going live on Facebook, Instagram, and now YouTube. A little bit of technical difficulties there. We're going to give you YouTube next week, all right? But we do have a YouTube channel.
We have a YouTube channel, and now we have a Twitter.
Yes. So you can find us on Twitter at RFFNJ_. You can also find us on YouTube. Just search in the search bar, The Real Football Fans in New Jersey. We're going to get all of our videos uploaded to there for you. We're going to give you our games, our predictions, our everything right there.
So many platforms.
Someone just waved hello on our Instagram, on everywhere else. So we're going to get into, I know, these are our jazzers. So we're going to go ahead and get into, we asked you guys questions. You asked us questions.
Yes,
we asked you 4 questions. And as always, as you're watching the live stream tonight, go ahead. Feel free to ask us anything.
Yeah, that's the great about us being together and going live. We love seeing your questions in real time. Yes, and we missed you guys last week. So absolutely, whatever's on your mind and whatever you want to ask us, we're here to answer.
We are here. So the first question, will this year's MVP come from the NFC South? Good question, because that's on brand tonight, because we are talking about the NFC South later on in the show. So I'm looking at these teams right now. So you have Atlanta, Carolina, the Saints, and Tampa Bay. So
yeah, and you definitely have candidates. Okay, so you have those 4 teams. So you're like, what kind of candidates could be MVP?
Yeah.
Carolina, Christian McCaffrey. I mean, it's not very often it's a running back, but I mean, he's been phenomenal. It could be Michael Thomas, Drew Brees, could be Tom Brady. Who knows?
Could be Tom Brady.
Yeah. Newcomer to the division.
Doesn't just stand for Tampa Bay anymore. It stands for Tom Brady. Yes. That very well could be. Could be someone else coming out of Tampa, Atlanta. Who knows? Maybe they'll shape up their game this year. Maybe Julio Jones, Matt Ryan, if he has a good season. That's definitely
crazier things have happened.
Crazier things have happened. So I'm gonna go with no, though.
I'm gonna say no.
Yeah, I think there is a lot of talent, across the entire league. It's been great. Like a lot of the games we've been playing over the last couple of weeks, we've been really diving into some player profiles. Yeah, and there's a lot of exciting players out there, especially going into. I'm just going to go with no on this one.
Yeah, and we have another question that kind of goes hand in hand with it. So I'm going to leave my answer at no, and we'll get into a little bit more. But
we can move on. So number 2, what is your favorite moment since the Real Football Fans of New Jersey started?
We've honestly had some really good moments. We have. We've got to do a lot of cool things. Love interacting with people about the show and everything like that. But I kind of feel like as much as my heart will always lie with the Giants and football before it lies with Housewives, just because I've been a Giants fan my whole life, I have to say BravoCon is probably number 1, because it felt like Caitlin and I were the only ones at BravoCon that truly dressed up out of all those hundreds of people. And I felt like it almost made us like the stars of BravoCon.
We were.
So
we were the stars.
It felt like we were like celebrity status there. I had a blast. It was an unbelievable day of fangirling all day long. And nothing can compare to that for me since we've started.
Yeah, I think that's a great memory. And I always say, like, we should do an episode all the fun things, all the people that we've met.
Because there's a lot.
It's insane. Like, we've been very fortunate with the people, the connections we made and things like that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with the first softball game we went to.
Yeah.
The second year was a lot of fun, but, like, talk about fangirl. Like, we didn't know we were going to get that up close and personal with these players. They were coming left and right. It was just a brand new experience for us. And listen, I could meet the most famous person in the world tomorrow. It will not compare to me meeting a New York Giants.
Yeah.
That is like the end all be all for me. That first game that we went to.
Yeah, we had no idea that we were going to have access to the players like that. And so, we were completely shocked. And that was those are right up there. I mean, the softball games and BravoCon, that's at the top of the list.
And hopefully this just all passes so we can
I know, we
Do
want to
that
go back to
again.
both.
We
And
do.
Luann's Cabaret. We've done, we've done so many,
We've
so
done
many
it
fun
all.
things. Yeah.
Mention it all.
Mention it
Taylor.
all.
Mention it all. Okay, number 3. Will this year's MVP be a quarterback?
So that's where this
Yes.
one ties in. And I am going to say yes.
Me too.
And I know that it's like always much sexier to like pick a MVP candidate that's maybe not expected.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to give the boring answer of saying that I think this will just be a 2-man race between Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes.
I am literally, I just answer as you. It's one of those where it's just like, you know what, you're going to go with it. And like, you know, Katie and I are firm believers. We've said it on so many episodes in the past that it shouldn't always be a quarterback. We love when a defensive guy comes, you know.
I would love to see that.
Like, look at Aaron Donald. Like, you always want to see that big old guy come out and win and get back there. I don't know why our Instagram feed is going black.
Boo.
Boo. Boo. But yeah, so we're saying no. This is so weird.
But
Don't do that.
It's like if you're going to be real about it and put money on it, you're going to put money on one of those guys.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Okay.
At all.
So this question is quite comical. But I will answer it for the sake of our audience.
I like this one.
It is a 2-parter, and the first part's a joke. I will poke fun at myself.
I want the real answer.
How is Caitlin's dating life? That is the first part of the question.
I didn't send it. I like that the fans are sending that.
The fans want to know. I will plead the 5th on this one. No,
she's playing Andy Cohen's Plead the 5th.
I'm pleading the 5th. No, I wish I could. No, things are fine. I'm super happy right now. So that's all I can tell you.
Woo, that's all she's given us, folks.
That's all.
That's all she wrote.
You can't tell from the smile on my face. I'm a happy camper, so that's all I'll give you.
All right.
I'll let you guys think about it. Whatever that means. Okay, so and then the second part of that question, the real part of the question, not poking fun at me, is what is your favorite winery that you've ever been to? Real question, by the way.
Yeah, no, I love this question.
And if you guys have your favorites, please tell us because we're always
I would love to always check out new ones that I haven't seen before. We are in North Jersey. Unfortunately, the closest winery to us is like 45 minutes away. But I do like to go to it. I probably visit it once a year. I like to go to Old York Cellars. Caitlin and I went there last year together, last fall, and they do some good festivals. They do some good events, and even just going there for a wine tasting. It's a very beautiful winery, Old York Cellars in Rindos, New Jersey.
Old York Cellars, if you ever want to try their wine before you go, they sell it at Wegmans. So they have like very cool like fruity wines and things like that.
But regular wines too.
Yeah. They have it was great. I'm literally going to kill our Instagram. I have no idea why it's pissing me off to no end.
Say goodbye, Instagram.
No, say goodnight. Goodnight from the lower level. Oh my goodness. We might have to. So anyone watching on Instagram will probably it's so annoying. But I actually really love the Cape May winery.
Yes,
great
have not been there,
great
but
wine. Obviously, that's even more of a trek. Down south, about 3 hours south. If you're ever in the area, try it. One of my favorites.
And I've never been to Cape May, but I'm a big fan of Cape May Brewery. I love their beers. So I'm gonna eventually have to make a trip to Cape May for sure.
Hit up all the spots.
Yes.
But those are our questions today. Thank you so much. Listen, Instagram's going off and screw it. I'm not even it's pissing me off to no end. So we're gonna continue to record the pod for you, and we're gonna be on Facebook, please send them our way. Come.
All right, big stories of the week in the world of football. We are going to start with NFL quick hot topics. We do have 3 ones we're going to roll through right now. On Friday, this was more big news for the Washington football team. They have officially released. They have officially released running back Darius Geis after he was arrested.
We were just talking about him recently.
Because
for the better.
Listen, Darius Geis was drafted in the second round of the 2018 draft. He has only played in 5 games due to injury. People had really high expectations for him. And I was even saying, okay, not hopefully because, they're in our division, but hopefully for his sake, he gets to go out there and show that he's a good player because I believe that he was going to be. But now he was arrested on domestic violence related charges. He faces 1 count of strangulation, which is a felony.
Put that on the table there,
Yeah.
people. Strangulation ain't cool.
Yeah.
Ain't legal.
And it's a felony, so it's no joke.
Yeah.
3 counts of assault and battery and 1 count of destruction of property. The incidences occurred between February and April. Geis actually turned himself in. And yeah, so Washington kind of was in a place of, what are we going to do besides release him? And honestly, like, it sucks because when I heard this story, like, I never wanted to call Darius Geis a bust because he suffered injuries and it sucked, and he never got to prove what he was worth. But then when I saw this story come out, I said, okay, now we can officially call him a bust.
You're a bust, because once you bring in like on the field stuff that happens, like again, like it's 2 years, you're like, all right, let's see, like don't like fully like just exit out.
There are things that are out of your control, like injury.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you're now released because like of domestic violence charges, like that's just ridiculous.
Now, yeah, exactly, like off field stuff, like that's sorry. Oh no, distracting, right? But yeah, so it's just not good. The Washington football team, you got to just like get it together.
No. And you know, it doesn't help that I feel like this is a team that not only has a young quarterback in Dwayne Haskins that I'm not really a believer in, but you don't have any weapons on offense. And Darius Geis was gonna like at least hopefully be something for you. And now that's just another loss right there. So
listen, I'll bring up Dwayne Haskins later, not in a good way.
It could be a really, really, really rough year again for the Washington football team. But
how many announcers do you think are going to screw that up?
I don't know.
Like, or maybe just like stumble upon it.
Maybe. I stumble more so on the Las Vegas Raiders.
I honestly give you so much props for saying the Washington.
Thank you.
I'm just like the Redskins.
Yeah. This next story is really crazy, but I think it's important to bring up because in a dark situation of this pandemic, this is something that was pretty huge. On Saturday, Minnesota Vikings linebacker Cameron Smith announced that he's going to miss the 2020 season. He basically tested positive for COVID-19. Obviously, the players are being tested constantly. And he learns through that test that he had a serious heart condition and he will need open heart surgery. So he's missing the whole year. He's going to go through with that surgery. Obviously, I do have a quote on the back from him. It says, I found out I needed open heart surgery to fix a bicuspid aortic valve that I was born with. Although this will unfortunately end my 2020 season, it really is a blessing that we found this, as my heart is severely enlarged and wouldn't have lasted much longer. I mean, that sentence alone, like, gives me goosebumps. But I found this out after I tested positive for COVID and had to have further testing done as protocol. The Lord works in mysterious ways, but I could really feel him on this one. I mean, that test essentially saved his life.
So he's not the first one. So there is a Premier Lacrosse League player who did not report to the bubble for their championship because he got tested and was ready to go. And as he was doing follow-up tests, they found out he had a heart condition. And they said if he had gone and played in that heat, he would have died. So it is so scary like that. The stories are so similar. When I read this like before the show tonight, I was like, that happened to that kid, the lacrosse player. Like same thing.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I talk about this all the time. Like, this doesn't mean you need to run out and get a COVID test. But I always stress to my friends and my family, like, the importance of going to all of your regular doctors at least once a year for a regular checkup. I mean, it's so important.
Health insurance.
Absolutely, yes. And so this is just, these players were forced to take these tests, and my God, like, I don't know. Were you planning on going to the doctor if you didn't have to take this test? Who knows? But that could have essentially saved his life. And I hope his surgery goes well and that he, can take this year off, rest up, and come back. But I'm just happy that in the grand scheme of things, he's going to be okay. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Giants related news: when it rains, it pours. On Friday, it was announced. It's pouring, baby. On Friday, it was announced that cornerback DeAndre Baker has officially been charged with 4 counts of robbery with a firearm. If he is convicted, he will have a mandatory minimum sentence of 10 years in prison with a max of life. This stems from that incident in May that we brought to your attention on this show. He was accused of stealing money and watches from 4 men at a house party. Quinton Dunbar from the Seattle Seahawks was also a part of this story.
He signs like a multi-million-dollar contract and goes and steals
But
Really,
Quentin
really?
Dunbar's not being charged, so he's like officially out of that whole scenario, whole story. But you know, this is horrible for the Giants. We are so thin at cornerback. We had Sam Beal, cornerback, opt out of this season. We are suffering at that position. We desperately need to bring people in. I know that they were trying to bring in Ross Cockrell, but they couldn't agree to terms. What do you mean you can't agree to terms? We don't have anybody. Sign whoever you can. Sign who's ever willing. Like, give people what they want.
Like, the latest and greatest is like Coach Judge had a press conference. I think it was like either today or yesterday. No one streamed it. Like, no one saw it. And he was like saying how comfortable he is with like having people play like multiple positions. So there was discussion.
Safeties are going to have
would you put Jabril Peppers at cornerback?
Yeah.
Yeah. At this point, yes. The kid,
it's an athlete.
How versatile that kid is.
Yeah.
He came to the Giants, and that's all we spoke about. So
he's been a special teams player. He's been a return guy.
Put him there because I've got nothing else for you.
I mean, yeah, it's just like the offensive line.
Someone was like, "You're gonna put Dan Jones at wide receiver? How comfortable are we with moving people around?"
It's like the offensive line when guys have to shift to positions that they're not normally used to. You have to step up and you have to help your team where you can. But listen, with DeAndre Baker and with Darius Geis, these are two young players that have promising futures, and they just throw it all away for nothing. And it's really
it just
sad.
Sucks, like with like the season that we're entering now too, like all these players like opting out for good reason, and it's like it's gonna be a different season. It's gonna look and feel different. Like I was like watching basketball the other night, like very random, but I was and like just curious as to how like kind of things roll out. Right. Like someone told me like some teams really aren't taking it seriously. It's going to be a different season no matter how you look at it. It's going to be weird. If it rolls out nicely and smoothly, there's still going to be bumps in the road. There's still going to be things that are looking different. And this is one of those things where it's unfortunate that these young players could be healthy and show up for a 2020 season, but they're doing stupid shit like this. And it's not.
Listen, at the end of the day, I think this is about surrounding yourself with good people, surrounding yourself with good family members and good friends, and running in a good inner circle. People who aren't going to get you in trouble, who are going to be good, positive influences on your life. That's really what it boils down to.
As you become famous, whatever you are famous for, you got to remember who you're going to say.
Yeah, and keep that inner circle tight, small, like you know what I mean.
People into this
yeah.
So I 100% agree. All right, well, those are our quick hot topics in the NFL. So we are going to move in our segment that we do every week for you until right about the season starting.
Yeah.
We are giving you our best worst case scenario, record wise. And tonight's division is
a good one.
It is a good one. The NFC South. So you have the Falcons, the Panthers, the Saints, and the Tampa Bay, the Tom Brady Buccaneers.
It's a brand new look to this division.
It's a brand new look.
We've got Teddy Bridgewater at cornerback for the Panthers. We've got Tom Brady and Gronk in Tampa Bay, and it's very interesting. You guys keep me young.
Every time I see
God, I love you.
Every time I see Teddy Bridgewater, you keep me young, Teddy.
That means she's going to be extra nice to the Panthers with these predictions.
Really? Don't you worry.
All right.
Teddy. All right. Let's get into it. We're going to start with the Atlanta Falcons. Yep. You know it's a touchy subject for me because I'm going to punt them to the next planet. But best worst case scenario, let's start with just give me both of them.
I do think last year was a bit of a fluke year for them.
7-9.
Yeah, and it almost felt worse than it was because they didn't start winning games towards the second half of the season, right?
So
it felt much worse than it was. Right. It feels like, oh wow, they actually finished 7-9, but they did. And my best case scenario for them this upcoming season is also 7-9. Even though I'm saying that I felt last year was a fluke. And worst case scenario, I'm saying 4-12. They have a brutal schedule. I do believe they have the toughest schedule out of the 4 teams. And their first 4 games, especially the first 2, it's like you're starting 0-2. You're playing the Seahawks and then on the road against the Cowboys. You've got Chicago at home as your 3rd game. That's obviously winnable. But then you're going on the road to Green Bay. And then on the road, you're also playing the Vikings, the Chargers, and the Chiefs.
So I pointed out weeks 4 through 6.
Okay. Oh, that's good.
So it's Green Bay, Panthers, Vikings. That is a hard schedule.
There's no easy stretch of this schedule.
So that is our 3 tough games right wins like back to back.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough for a team like this that struggled so hard last
Right.
season, couldn't find their footing last season. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It was they had the talent. They had the talent. They could not the football. There was no contact. Football, the hands, the end zones, and nothing. They couldn't find their feet on the ground. So I was a little bit more generous though. So I did give them 9 and 7 because I do not believe there was 7 and 9. There's so
I don't
much
either.
talent there.
I'm strictly going off the schedule. It's
agree.
brutal.
It is a hard one, but I did analyze a lot of games, and there are definitely 9 potential wins there.
Okay.
If they are the true Atlanta Falcons with the talent they had on their roster right now.
Okay.
And then worst case scenario, I dipped from last season because I did think 7 and 9 was generous. Not that much. I went with 6 and 10.
Okay. Okay.
So
yeah.
Devin, so yeah, again, we're starting off hot and heavy because this is an interesting division. So let's put the Carolina Panthers a best and worst case scenario.
I thought they had a similar schedule to Atlanta, but slightly easier, just like a tick easier. And again, this is a brand new look for this team with Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback. But best case scenario, I am going 8 and 8, and worst case scenario, I'm going 5 and 11.
All right, so we agree on best case scenario. I do like the 500 record for them. I think that it was what, like 5 and 11 last year. They finished real poorly. And I was a little bit shocked.
They also didn't have Cam Newton.
Absolutely, I totally understand. I love Teddy Bridgewater. I think he's an amazing quarterback.
And Christian McCaffrey's phenomenal.
He's going to do great things as a QB1, but it's still a new quarterback to a team that he is not familiar with.
Right.
So it's just that's why I did go at 8 and 8 as well. And then my worst case scenario was 6 and 10.
Okay, so we're pretty much close there.
Pretty much on par. So New Orleans, that's the worst case scenario. This is so really good, but how much credit do you give them?
I'm going to give them a 13 and 3 best case scenario.
So same as last season, which is very fair.
And I don't really expect this, but worst case scenario, I'm going to go 9 and 7. I did note that their toughest games on their schedule are Green Bay, the 49ers, and Kansas City. But they're very fortunate that those are their 3 toughest games because they all happen to be home games. And the Saints have a great, although the fans won't be there. The Saints, it's a very tough place to play. Fans or no fans. So the fact that if they have to play those 3 teams, but they can do it at home, that's an advantage. So I think this is going to be, these are the division winners for me. And again, going to contend possibly for a Super Bowl.
Absolutely. So I, best case scenario, went up from last season. I gave them a 14 and 2 record, giving them losses though to the Chiefs and the 49ers.
Yeah, those are tough games.
Green Bay will definitely be. I like the Saints Green Bay matchup every year. It's always everyone every time they play them. It is a good matchup for sure. But I'm going to go with those 2 losses there. It's a great record. And then worst case scenario, still a great record, but it's just because of this division is so interesting. But I think it falls a lot to the Saints this year, and the worst case scenario is 11 and 5.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I know. I expect. Listen, this to me
must be nice.
This should be the 1 or 2 seed in the NFC.
Absolutely.
So.
Okay, and let's finally end with the Tampa Bay.
Right, this is the most interesting one, right?
It really was, and I'm kind of a little different for me, but it was actually really hard to pick this. So best and worst case scenario.
My main note about this, about the Buccaneers, is that I did feel out of the 4 teams they had the easiest schedule.
Absolutely.
So
100% agree. And to look at all the additions they made to that team, I was like, what the hell they get an easy schedule?
Yeah. So best case scenario, this team could already go to 11 and 5, and because they feel they had an easy schedule.
I think that's very generous.
At worst case scenario, I'm going 9 and 7.
Okay. So they finished 7 and 9 last year, and I was actually really surprised at seeing that. This is one of my favorite things to do. I always love looking at records and you're like, wait a minute, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were trash.
But they went 7 and 9 with Jameis, and I get that he threw a ton of touchdowns, but he also led the league in interceptions. So when you give the ball away, you're not going to win football games. So the fact that they went 7 and 9 with Jameis, you've got to give them more credit.
To bring people to like that medium ground. I want to humble people. That's not the right word. I want to bring people to a normal thing. I don't think that Tom Brady's taking them to a Super Bowl, and I think people.
Well, I don't think they're winning this division.
I think people are going crazy. Making these erratic decisions.
Some people are. I do believe some people are being a little
realistic. You've got to come down to like a Carolina Panthers in my scenario, best case scenario
Mhm.
here, and then worst case scenario 5-11 because let's
Wow.
remember that they are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, but they went 7-9 with Jameis.
They could suck again. So,
But not be worse.
I don't know.
They have Tom Brady.
I know.
That's crazy. If you're right on that, I'm going to remember this episode. I'm going to remember that.
Remember
If you're right on
Check
that,
the
by
receipts.
all means,
I also
I'll owe
tweeted
you
this
a
year.
bottle of wine.
I also tweeted this year that the Giants were
What? Please don't tell me you tweeted that on our joint page.
No,
Okay,
we
good.
just started our joint page.
All right, I just want to make sure you're speaking for both of us. Don't put
No.
don't add me into that equation.
I am speaking for both of us. You also tweeted I, so you should say
I didn't know how to do it.
Katie. I didn't know what the Twitter
You guys, that was my first.
was.
I tweeted for the first time today. I like the tweeter. Oh, my first tweet, guys. First tweet. Oh my God, I'm new to this. I'm a newbie.
I'm new. That was good. So honestly, it's always really good to look at that.
Yeah.
Very interesting. A lot of great players, a lot of great history there. Good rivalries between them.
Yes.
So definitely interesting. That was a fun one to do.
Yes. Let's get into our big stories of the week now, though, in the world of housewives. Our first story is about Roni and the fact that they are or have already filmed their reunion in person.
Quite
That's
the
very
shock factor.
I was
found out
really
on
shocked.
Instagram. I had no
Yes.
idea.
Yes, Andy was posting to Instagram about it. It definitely took us by surprise. But Roni recently held their reunion. It was the first one to be in person so far since early 2020. Andy said all protocols were obviously being observed.
Yep.
Masks and hand sanitizers were on hand. Everyone was 6 feet apart, which is funny because he had mentioned like, they all had to be 6 feet apart, but this group can shout loud enough that they'll be fine. And that everyone was actually tested. The women, the crew, Andy, everybody.
That's good.
And
Finally, something else being treated like sports.
Yeah.
The Real Housewives of New York, baby.
Yes. So they did film at a castle in Long Island, which was probably, of course, better than being in the city where things are a little
not good.
Not well be. Not well be. Other things about it that we know so far. Tinsley did fly in. I was a little bit surprised.
I was.
I thought maybe she'd just phone in or something like that. But Tinsley,
she's probably only on like
maybe. She did fly in from Chicago for the reunion, and she did quarantine ahead of time for the event so that she was able to attend it. I think she quarantined for the I feel like she can say her piece, and doing the reunion is kind of just like putting closure to it and ending your time with the housewives. We also got a little bit of insight from Leah. She expressed that she was grateful to have her first reunion in person. She's new to it, and she was happy that she got to have the full experience. And my favorite part was that she did mention that she called her boxing coach Martin ahead of time. He gave her a pep talk, basically told her, go out there, be yourself, get that Dorito.
And that Tinsdale.
And I love it because he's absolutely right. I mean, you have, and I wouldn't expect anything less from Leah because she's really been she's not going to take shit from anybody just because she's a newbie. But the fact
the reunions are hard.
They are very
She
hard.
probably did her research. She's a smart cookie. She knows. I think she knew what she clearly was getting into when she joined this group of girls.
Yeah.
You've said this many times. She stands her ground. It's a very attractive feature.
Yeah.
To join a New York franchise, you've got to be able to stand your
Sometimes
ground.
it's annoying, like when Jackie came to New Jersey and tried to do it, and
I didn't
whatever.
like that.
I didn't like it either because she went about it in a different way.
She was on attack mode.
Right. Leah was only on it.
Well,
Leah was only sticking up for herself when she felt like, okay, this is legitimate that I stick up for myself here. But yeah. So it was different. But I just love that he gave her a little pep talk before she went out. I think he should have given them all pep talks before they went out. But
I think I need a more
great motivational coach for sure. Boxing coach, motivational speaker.
He should do a live stream every day.
He should have a podcast for sure. I'm about that.
I don't think he had that many followers. We can totally slide.
No, I think he has a ton actually.
And Leah.
Roni got him a lot of.
Leah likes all my stuff.
All right. Yeah.
Trying to get someone in on it. I think it would be really, really great. But you gotta check out their outfits. So they were all
That's always big.
But Leah, her mask was almost see-through. So I don't know if that was protocol. Maybe she had a lining on it, but it was mesh.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it was protocol.
Maybe
I can't
you just
imagine.
use those for the pictures.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is my mask.
I haven't gotten a real good look at the outfits yet.
Oh, you gotta look, they're great.
But that's
All
always
mine,
like
yeah.
a big part of it.
Yeah.
So
They look great. Obviously some of the masks are a little extreme. I think like the mask, like her face, it's like a mask. Of her
yeah, it was
face.
like her own lips, I
Yeah.
think.
Sonia had a really cool one. But yeah.
I can't believe this is like the world we're living in, where like we
That's
have to
it.
make our masks like fashionable.
Well,
It
I
makes me
told
so
I
sad.
sent Katie a mask today, and it was,
Yeah.
you know, Dorinda's favorite quote. Like, I'll tell you how I'm doing, not well be on the mask. I need to invest in that because I've been struggling with the mask because
Yeah.
you can't tell how I look. And usually I'm giving a dirty look to people. I've got my RBF on. every
Somebody
single
like
day.
had a thing like a GIF or something
struggling.
where it was just like, this is the year for the resting bitch face, where like you can just rest and like people aren't gonna come after you
And be
for
like,
it.
oh,
like it's acceptable now because people don't know that you're
Smile.
doing it.
yeah. No, I'm struggling. I want you to see what I look like. Or if I'm giving you a dirty look, I want you to see. All right, so that's that. So let's get into our second story. And it's out of Beverly Hills. So
Yeah.
is Garcelle going to return for season 11?
Another
So
rookie.
Another rookie who had a great rookie season.
Yeah, people are really
Beverly Hills is
liking
still
her.
going on. They still like everyone really likes her. So on a radio show on Thursday, Garcelle said she hopes Bravo asks her back for a second season, but admits she's scared to return because of the drama. This has been I'm taking a hiatus from Beverly Hills. Everyone knows that. It's me off to no end.
Yeah.
Please winter football. But it has been, to my knowledge, recap blogs and stuff, very dramatic. Obviously, you have the whole thing.
Yeah,
when-
yeah.
Whatever, we're not going to get into it. But we did a quote from her. So at the reunion, actually, Lisa Rinna said, "Your first season always nice and pleasant, and the second one they come for you." Okay. And I said, "Is that a warning?" And she said, "Yes." So I'm a little scared. I don't think Garcelle needs to be scared. Again, I've been reading up on things, and she's very similar to Leah in standing her own ground and making her own friendships with the group that are very organic and very natural.
Yeah.
So, like, that's what I've been hearing. So apparently she unfollowed Lisa Rinna on Instagram after the season 10
As well as
taping.
all
Yeah.
other women.
Says she didn't receive a cease and desist letter from Denise like some of the others did.
Yeah.
And that will get discussed on reunion, you know, all that drama there. So now like there's legal involved,
Right,
whatever. Hopes Denise, you know, comes back for another season. But the women agree that they don't want to go back like without each other. So
Yeah, so if that's actually a legitimate, serious statement, I mean, I think it's very, very
Yeah.
possible that Denise does not come back. So I
yeah.
don't know how much that statement like holds ground and how much she meant that, or that both women meant that. But I don't know. Do you think Denise is going to come back? I don't think so.
I don't think you can bounce back.
I don't think you can bounce back from that either. And like,
no matter what the truth is, you can be telling the truth
Yeah.
or lying. I don't think you can bounce back.
Yeah.
And put your family through that again? No.
I think she's.
It's always going to come up. It could be 10 years from now, Beverly Hills, that's still going to come up. You cannot, there's been drama lines.
Yeah.
Like think if like Siggy never left New Jersey. They'd still be talking about that damn cake to this day.
Yeah,
There's
but that's not even a
storylines-
serious thing.
I know.
This is a serious
No, it
thing.
is. Like Luann, they're always going to bring up her mugshot. They're always
Yes.
going to bring
Yeah.
that up. It's never not going to be mentioned.
You
Luann,
can't-
though, can stand her ground.
We
You know,
talked
whatever.
about this on our last show,
Yeah.
how we had the question, what kind of housewife you would be. And I said, I couldn't be one because I'm too
Yeah.
sensitive. And honestly, Denise might be too sensitive to be a housewife.
I agree.
You have to put everything out there,
Yeah.
good, bad, and ugly. Like, it just is what it is.
It's like being in politics.
You've gotta take
Everybody's gonna dig up-
punches.
They're going to dig up your
and you
skeletons.
have to take
They're
punches.
gonna,
Yeah.
they're going to come after you. You have to either accept it or
Right.
lie.
Right.
Deny.
All right, so we are going to play a game now. I'm very excited about this one because I know a ton of
Yeah.
people have been asking us, when are you going to do fantasy football talk? When are you going to do it? When are you going to do it?
I
can't even believe that. Yeah, that's a little early. Come on, guys.
Relax, guys. Seriously.
I did-
Like,
I
we're like a
did,
week late. Like, chill.
The game we're about to play, we did play last year, and I did see that we played it at the end of August. So we're like ahead of schedule.
So,
now.
like,
get off my
back.
jock,
Get
as
off my
Bethany
job.
Frankel would say.
Literally, get off
But we are
my
gonna,
job.
do what the fans want here because you've been asking for it. So tonight's game are our fantasy football player rankings. So just like last year, we are going to give you our top 3 players
Dude,
for
this
each
was like kind
position.
of hard this year. I don't know why.
It is. You got to do a lot of research, and sometimes it's hard to say, but we're giving you our top 3 players for each position, plus 1 sleeper pick and 1 player to avoid at each position as well.
Oh my God.
We had to do that.
I didn't do the avoid. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I got us.
Someone always screws up.
Not me. We're doing.
We all screw up equally. I'm kidding. I'm just trying to say that.
We're going over.
I missed that.
It's okay. We're going over quarterback, wide receiver, running back, tight end, defense, and special teams and kicker. Okay, that's all right. I got us. But yeah, let's start this off. Let's kick it off with the quarterback. We're gonna go obviously again our top 3 guys at that position, 1 sleeper. Katie will give 1 player to avoid. Go ahead. We'll do it in order together. So your top 3, I'll give my top 3.
My top 3 are number 1, Patrick Mahomes, number 2, Lamar Jackson, number 3, Drew Brees.
Okay, I agree with you 1 and 2, and my third, I know you're not whatever, but I put Dak Prescott.
You know,
this is why I put Dak Prescott.
And I know you always bring the receipts.
I did not realize that Dak actually quietly had the 2nd most passing yards in the league last year. He had 30 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. Those are really, really good stats as a quarterback, as somebody who's good at throwing the ball, but he can also run if he has to. He had 3 rushing touchdowns last year. He's playing on a contract year where it's like, pay me already. How much do I have to do to show you that I'm worth this money? So he's going to come out and he's going to try to prove it, right? Yeah. Even though I think he already has. I get it. Drew Brees to me is always not ranked high enough for whatever reason.
Oh, he was one of
so
the so low.
He's
and I was like angry.
That happens year after year, though.
And I was like, why am I getting so angry? Am I Katie right now? Katie loves Drew Brees.
I think people would probably argue too, and I do have backup on this of why we both put Patrick Mahomes before Lamar Jackson. I have to be honest with you guys. I'm still thinking that Lamar Jackson is 1 game away from blowing out his ACL. And it makes me so damn nervous. And so to me, Mahomes is just, I'm picking him first because it's the safe pick. I really think that when a quarterback runs that much, like I'm waiting for him to get injured. And I know it sounds terrible. I don't want that for him, but that's what I feel like is going to happen.
I have him on my 2nd pick because he is the dual threat. He's a good dual threat quarterback.
I mean, but normally that gets you more fantasy points, but I just get nervous because you're more prone to injury.
But if there is no injury, like you're off.
Yeah, of course. But I'd rather just play completely safe because if you have Mahomes, he's still gonna, do wonders for your team as well. Okay, sleeper.
So this was like funny. So when I was doing like my research, doing my analyzing, I like just in the back of my head originally thought this individual was a sleeper because I like touted him a lot on this show. Like I do think he's doing wonders for the Buffalo Bills. I do think
I almost had him as my sleeper.
But after I did a lot of my research, people actually do have him at a decent spot. I've seen it.
He's middle of the pack.
So I don't really consider that too much of a sleeper. So I'm going to go with your boy, Drew Lock, as the sleeper.
I love how we both, I literally typed out Josh Allen and then went delete. And then I put in Drew Lock.
I literally have Drew Lock in parentheses.
Listen, if Drew Lock doesn't pan out, I'm going to look like the biggest ass for talking about him every single show.
But you're not wrong because again, like as I was doing like my analysis for this, he did come up many times as that quote-unquote sleeper.
I mean, he's a huge sleeper because we only got to see him play 3-4 games, so people don't know what to expect. He was only a rookie last year, so it's a huge sleeper.
A lot of the drafts I've been in, though, like people like really take their time in like the QB position. I'm like, I'm take the quarterback like real soon. But some people might find themselves in the position where maybe there's Carson Wentz is still on the board.
I'm not taking, and not just because I don't like the Eagles. Don't take Carson Wentz.
The one that I was looking at, like Drew Brees and Carson Wentz.
No, but I also saw Carson in doing my research. I also saw Carson Wentz on a lot of players.
I would take Jalen Hurts. You heard that here first.
Don't take either. Don't.
But I'm just saying, like, I think, like, if you do find yourself in that area where you are like falling back, whether you know what you're doing in fantasy football or you're just trying to load up on other positions, don't sleep on Drew Lock.
Yeah. My player to avoid, basically.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I got you. You know, like I just said, in fantasy football, one of the best things that you can have at the quarterback position is someone who can also run the ball. It just is what it is. It's going to get you more fantasy points. So I'm going with a guy who's always rated pretty high, but he's with a new team. I don't think he's going to do well. Like, I'm not into it. I'm never into it. New England quarterback candidate.
Oh, yeah, guys.
Avoid him. And I think people will draft him because, like I just said, he's a dual threat quarterback, and people might be like, well, he's with Bill
But he's a
Belichick now.
bad dual threat quarterback. I like Lamar Jackson because he's good at it.
He's coming off injury. I don't see it happening. Avoid him. Abort. All right, let's get into the wide receiver position. Tons of good wide receivers in the league, but who do you have as your top three?
Number one, I'm going with Michael Thomas. Obviously,
across the board, everybody.
I get him, and I'm going 2, Tyreek Hill, 3, Julio Jones.
Okay, I'm going 1, Michael Thomas, 2, DeAndre Hopkins, now with the Arizona Cardinals, and 3, I'm going Tyreek Hill. I do believe that
I did see Hopkins drop a little bit in some.
Listen, I actually saw him on some players to avoid lists, and I think people are like, don't just expect because he's DeAndre Hopkins that he's going to go to a new team that beats DeAndre Hopkins. So you're right. I mean,
but I disagree with that statement.
No, but it's always a question mark when somebody, especially with COVID and everything that's happening, you haven't been able to build a relationship like you would normally going to a new team in the off season. But I still believe in him. I did make a note of the fact that I felt as though Devontae Adams and Julio Jones could also fall into the 3 spot.
Yeah.
The only reason I gave the edge to Tyreek Hill is because of being a part of that explosive offense for Kansas City Chiefs. All right, who is your sleeper pick?
So I'm going with Zach Moss on the Buffalo Bills. So a little bit of an interesting pick here. I think what helped me boost my pick with that was seeing that Josh Allen was high on a lot of people's lists. And I've seen this kid mentioned a lot. A lot of people feel that he's just going to naturally mold into that wide receiver position, and just like make a pretty big impact, and just kind of like listen, like you already have a solid wide receiver like off the board already. Try to go after someone else in there. So it's a pick for me, but again, listen to it. Zach Moss, the Buffalo Bills.
Okay, my pick is kind of and I go with this theme more than once during this game.
Sorry, who's ever listening? I just rolled my eye.
Of picking someone because I feel like, wow, he's that team's only option, right? So my sleeper pick is somebody who I feel like he's the only weapon for that team. And I'm going with New York Jets wide receiver Jamison Crowder.
You know what? So again, I saw him like everywhere. I know he's like the only weapon, but it's like going to give you like I didn't know.
Well, listen. Yeah. Before you could put Jamison Crowder, he used to be with the Washington Redskins, and I always felt that he was an underrated wide receiver. I mean, it was always going to be. He came out of Duke, like it's not the SEC, it's not a big football school. But I always paid attention to Jamison Crowder's game, especially him starting off his career playing for the Redskins. Right. He had 833 receiving yards last year and 6 touchdowns. Jamison Crowder has always, since he came in as a rookie, quietly put up some pretty good numbers. Yeah. And the fact that, Quincy Enunwa, Robbie Anderson, they're not there anymore, I just think that's going to boost his numbers. So to me, he's a pretty solid sleeper in my book.
All right.
Okay, my player to avoid is somebody that had could be drafted pretty high because of the fact that he had really good stats last year. But I just don't trust the offense that he's a part of. And although I do think you guys shouldn't avoid him completely, go ahead and draft him. I just wouldn't draft him as high as he's rated. I'm going with Miami wide receiver Devontae Parker.
That was another one. So again, like we've said, it was when we had running back 1-2 punches, wide receiver 1-2 punches.
Yeah. Yep.
Miami is one of those teams where we said no one is a standout player. So when I did see his name like multiple times out there, I was like, there's no one that significant.
And unfortunately, everybody's going to kind of suffer statistically, fantasy football wise, whenever you have a quarterback conundrum, because I do think Miami is going to have a situation of, I could see them starting the season with Ryan Fitzpatrick and then moving away from him and going with Tua. And I feel like it never helps a football team to do that. No. But it is what it is. I feel like that's what's going to happen.
You got to check your surroundings. I know fantasy is based on the player, and I know that's how it
But
works.
how? That's a huge factor for what team they're on.
You need to look at that.
Yeah, it plays a huge factor what team you're on, what offense you're a part of. So, yeah. All right, running back position. Who do you have as your top 3?
So this is actually probably the easiest one.
It was a little bit easier, yeah.
So number 1, I'm going to go with Christian McCaffrey. Number 2, Mr. Saquon Barkley. Whoop, whoop. And number 3, Ezekiel Elliott. Cowboys fans still come after me. You know these are the numbers. Did you switch it?
Yeah, I have Christian McCaffrey, I have Zeke, and then I have Saquon. And I'm going to say this.
All right.
If I played fantasy football, as much as I know, and I put Saquon at 3, and I know people are going to draft him probably as the number 2 running back off the board. He's going to be drafted really high. But I got to say, if I actually played fantasy football, I still would never take Saquon, because until the day I see that offensive line improve, I'm never touching him.
The behind the scenes.
I have to literally see it for a full season to take Saquon. So that's why I'm going Zeke over him. Who's your sleeper?
My sleeper, Mr. Ronald Jones.
Oh, okay.
So obviously they got Mr. Shady McCoy down in Tampa now.
Yeah,
but people did say that might be a little bit of a question mark there, with this individual, Mr. Ronald Jones. But I did see him many places, and I just, I kind of felt good there because when I even sent that to you, taking McCoy, it was kind of like.
Right, it was like breaking news, but when I read it, I was like, meh, so what?
So what? It's not. It's
he's not who he used to be.
So a lot of people do see him moving up into that area. Don't sleep on him.
Okay. I'm going with somebody. I'm going with a rookie here, and I'm going with somebody who I think.
I love a good rookie.
He's my dark horse, and I've said it before on the show. He's my dark horse to win offensive. Are you ready for?
Why don't you let me sing? Someone commented one day, not commented, told me, they were like, I like your singing. So
I'm just waiting for you to be done.
No, I can see you roll your eyes on camera. I'm looking at the camera right now.
I'm just waiting for you to be done so I don't get cut off.
Sorry.
He's my dark horse pick to be offensive rookie of the year. I'm going with Colts running back Jonathan Taylor.
Okay.
I feel like out of all my sleepers this is the guy I feel really good about.
Double down.
Player I'm going to avoid. This is a very similar situation to Devontae Parker, where this guy is rated pretty high. He did have good stats last year, but I feel as though the offense is not going to be based around him. I'm going with Arizona running back Kenyon Drake. I feel that team is going to be all about Kyler and his outstanding wide receivers.
His trio.
And Kenyon Drake is a guy that you should draft. Just don't draft him as high as he's rated. Yeah. All right, tight end. Again, we always say you've got like maybe 4 or 5 good tight ends, and then that's it. So who do you got?
So I think it's interesting. So even like top 3, you can take all these 3 and put them in all positions of the top 3, and I see it everywhere too. He's always number 1, but then he goes 2 and things like that.
Okay.
So, excuse me, I had to burp. That was gross. But I'm going with number 1, Mr. George Kittle, 2, Travis Kelce, and 3, Zach Ertz.
Okay, I actually have one different guy in there in the bunch. I have Travis Kelce at number 1, and just because I do like George Kittle better, but George Kittle is way more of more so than Kelce, at least more of a blocking tight end than Kelce is. So Kelsey's going to probably get more yards, probably get more touchdowns. So I'm putting him at 1. I'm putting Kittle at 2. I'm putting Baltimore Ravens tight end Mark Andrews at number 3. He's good.
Yes, he's very good.
Sleeper. Who do we have?
So I'm going to Noah Fant from the Denver
I almost went with him. I really almost went with him.
What I thought was so interesting because again, a guy that I've seen on many mock
he quietly had a good year last year too.
Very much so, entering his 2nd season. So he was.
Yep.
So young kids. I think a lot of the sleepers you do find us saying with young individuals. Do we trust them as
that's a good sleeper candidate. Yeah.
Absolutely. But I did find it interesting. Don't push on a guy like Rob Gronkowski just because he's coming back, or an Evan Ingram, which I thought was super interesting. And I actually have chosen Evan Ingram as my sleeper in the past because I think a lot of people do overlook him. But in a scenario portfolio like this, I actually think you got to look at this kid before you look at those two other names that are just very well known to the tight end position.
Yeah.
There obviously are clearly people better than like obviously like he's got a lot to prove this season, especially from an injury standpoint.
Yeah.
But there are very like, more well-known names than probably this kid. But that's again, I just thought a lot of that commentary was super interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely almost went with Noah Fant as well. He was one of my candidates. I actually went with somebody who isn't even the number one tight end on his team.
Oh,
so
big sleeper.
Yeah, big sleeper. But I'm going with I'm going with Philadelphia Eagles tight end Dallas Goedert. And the reason I'm going with this is because, of course, you have Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz has never been a tight end, in my opinion. He's always been the wide receiver because he's also the number one target.
Doesn't have wide receivers.
He always has the most yards on that team. So to me, he's their number one receiver, right? Yes. And the fact that you don't have really any other wide receivers.
He's going to be your wide receiver.
We talked about our worst wide receiver 1-2 punches, our worst running back 1-2 punches. The Eagles are in the bottom 5 for both categories, in my opinion. And so to me, Zach Ertz is like, that's your shining star on the offense. And Dallas Goedert is still going to be a really good option for you as well. So I think he actually had 607 yards and 5 touchdowns last season. So, you know,
don't get it.
Don't get it. Don't do too much. Okay, and then my player to avoid, funny enough, but like big time, do not touch him. I'm saying Evan Ingram. What else am I supposed to, say when the guy is just so injury ridden? And the thing, the other reason I have to really say it is because he's still rated really high on like right.
One of the biggest things.
He's still at like 6, like the 6th best tight end. And when he's healthy, sure, but no way, no. You can't trust it. You just can't trust it.
I like Evan. Of course, I like Evan.
No, but listen, when Evan Ingram was hurt last year, we had a rookie come in, Caden Smith. Yeah. So I saw Caden Smith on somebody's article as a deep sleeper, tight end for the New York Giants, and he came in.
Big sleeper.
And Daniel Jones was targeting him a lot. He had a couple touchdowns towards the end of the year. And to me, I also wanted to move on from Evan Ingram. It would free up money for like a top tight end. And keep the kid that's on his rookie contract and bring some people in. So it's nothing against Evan Ingram because we love him. We really do.
Well,
but unfortunately, his career has been plagued by injuries, and we need somebody who's going to be out there for 16 games.
It is failed to mention this before, but QB sleeper.
Yes.
Daniel Jones mentioned a couple times.
He was, I have to say, he was the most mentioned one I saw.
A lot of top, like, Bleacher Report analysts.
ESPN had him as the number 12th ranked fantasy quarterback, one spot ahead of Aaron Rodgers. That blew my mind. I was like, wow, okay. I do. But like, listen, like he was honestly, Daniel Jones was the number 1 name I saw on quarterback sleepers across the board.
I didn't put him twice. I'm trying not to be biased, but
yeah, it's just like I hope that happens, but I'm not ready to jump to that.
But it was good.
It was nice to see that people believe in him, right?
I love it.
I mean, I believe in him too, but like I'm
it's like complete what's that word? Like complete opposite of the
Yeah.
draft night when everyone was losing their
I know,
shit
I
and
know.
no one believed it.
Right.
Here we are now, right?
Mhm.
Background of my phone, I'll show you guys. The shirt I'm wearing.
Yes. Okay, so and then oh my God, I messed up the game too.
You didn't do it.
I didn't do kicker. Did you do kicker?
I did. But I didn't do
All
it.
right, there you go.
Kicker
Now
was so hard.
we both officially
We didn't
messed
do
up the game.
defense yet.
I know. I'm
okay.
just saying in general, I forgot to do kicker. So
See, we both.
she was right. We both mess up. All right, so defense. Your top 3. You're not going to win or lose your fantasy leagues over
I think my sleeper on this is I'm going to go with for my top 3, the number 1, 49ers, 2, Baltimore Ravens, 3, Patriots.
Okay, 1, I'm going Niners. 2, I'm going Steelers. 3, I'm going Patriots. I when I was doing my research, I saw the Steelers really high up on the board, and they've always had a good defense. But I was like, why are they so high? So I had to like look into it. I didn't realize that last year the Steelers were #1 overall in takeaways. They were first in fumbles last year and second in interceptions. So they caused turnovers a lot that I wasn't aware of.
Yeah.
Who was your sleeper pick?
Listen, I think this is like completely.
What?
I went to Seattle Seahawks.
That was my answer.
Oh, okay, I think they're actually.
Wait, no. Okay, and I have. Don't worry, I have receipts for you. I've got you. We're not going to sound stupid. No, we're not going to sound stupid.
I'm honest. I pulled that
Listen, they brought in Jamal Adams, right?
Okay. Oh,
right?
no, I wasn't even thinking about that.
They've got some guys on defense.
Okay, all right.
Yes,
I feel way more confident.
ESPN had them ranked as the 17th best defense for fantasy, and I was actually surprised by that. So I was like,
I saw them lower.
I was like, why are they there? And then I wanted to look into it. I found out that they ranked 3rd in the most takeaways last year. So I was like, wow, they should get better, right? They brought in some guys. They brought in Jamal Adams. Yeah, so I feel like I was very surprised to see them at 17.
They're not in the top.
Yeah, I think maybe it was just like, Seattle had one of the most amazing defenses when they won their Super Bowl, like when they made back-to-back Super Bowl. Like that defense was like one of the best defenses ever. And so I think when they lost all those guys, people just assumed that Seattle's defense was like no more. But I still think they're quietly like they're good. They're top 10. Okay, a defense to avoid. This is so funny because I wanted to put this team as my sleeper pick. And then when I researched, I realized, oh, wait, no, they're not as good as I thought they were. No, the Chargers. And I've been talking a lot about the fact that they have like phenomenal weapons on defense. Wow. So I was actually stunned to find that they ranked last in takeaways last year. Yeah. All those amazing weapons that they have, I couldn't believe it. So I was just like,
remind you of the NFL. Piss me
off. So yeah, I'm gonna avoid the Chargers. I cannot believe I forgot to do kicker, but I'll certainly chime in with your answers.
Well, I did.
Yes, you did.
Finding a sleeper. Oh, my sleeper is actually like stay on your seats.
Okay. All right. Aldrich Rosas is no more. You know that, right? Oh my God.
He's my sleeper.
Why? He's not even. So he's not even technically on a team. He's not going to get you any fantasy points if he's not on a team. Not unless somebody gets hurt in the middle of the season.
Crazier things have happened. Yeah,
and then still, you need him.
So let's start with my sleeper. My sleeper is Aldrich Rosas. I don't agree that a team should pick him up. Someone will. Someone's going to, 100%.
But even if, like I said, a team picks
Antonio Brown bopped around from team to team when he was on his crazy.
Okay, but you can't have, like, if you are playing fantasy, like, you don't want him for half the season. You want him for the full season. Yeah, I mean, he could end up on a team. I just don't think it's going to happen. And I think it's more so likely that in the middle of the season, if somebody gets hurt, somebody will give him a call. He's definitely, that'd be my player to avoid. But you don't even have to avoid him. He doesn't have a team.
All right, I'm going with
I'm definitely good with that top 3.
But you know what? I did find Robbie Gould. I mention him all the time. He's a great kicker. I think he's up there. Justin Tucker's the end all be all. Right. It's literally Justin Tucker and the rest of the world.
Yeah.
It's Justin Tucker's world more.
I think Robbie Gould is that kicker that doesn't have a big leg, but he's extremely accurate. Like he's really not gonna miss much. He's trustworthy. And he plays for a good team that's scoring points, winning games.
You know when like we were talking about like what was it, 2 seasons ago? Like when he had it was last season, like with his whole contract and everything. Like it was becoming more like dramatic because like it was like why did no one ever like really look into him a little bit more?
Robbie Gould is a safety blanket. And what did I say recently about kickers in the league? I think there's like a couple of good ones, and then they're all just so you can get rid of them and pick somebody else up. So to me, having a safety blanket at the kicker position is huge.
But in 2020, I was talking to interesting thing. We're not kicker in the past.
Would you think you should do 2 kickers?
More than 2 and 4 quarterbacks. Because you can't even practice together probably kickers are so nervous.
The thing is, I think kickers are so interchangeable that I think if things aren't going well for your kicker, you can drop him and pick somebody up.
But would you rather have 2 kickers with you that are like quarantining or following all your rules and calling some random Joe Schmo off the couch?
I don't know.
Season,
I don't know.
It's going to be a different season for
Definitely not keeping 4 quarterbacks.
But because listen about it, you're going to have quarterback 1 and 3 practicing together and 2 and 4 practicing together because you can't have 1 and 2 together.
Yeah, it's hard, but then you have to look at the other positions and see what spot are they taking. You know
so
what I mean?
much depth in all the other positions, though. These are unique.
I know,
Yeah,
but I don't know.
saying, it's going to be unique.
Yeah,
unique New York. New York.
The thing with kicker is, I think they could literally call Joe Schmo off his couch, they could be just as good as some of these NFL kickers. That's what I'm saying. Well, they'll get tested and then they'll go play. I literally think like you can get anybody. Call a high school kicker. Call at like a soccer player, like for real, Carly Lloyd.
Carly Lloyd Thompson.
Okay. So what did you did your sleepers? So and you didn't do a boy.
Really
we screwed the pooch on this one.
Avoid anyone after that.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was a good game. And honestly, I know you guys love fantasy football content. Maybe we'll do something again right before you're about to draft.
Like the top,
we could definitely do something.
Share our faves.
Yeah.
You guys
all right.
It's a 2-week buffer. What is it? I'm looking at my watch.
Yeah, we have time, people. We were just trying to give you what you want.
My phone doesn't have a date on it. I mean, my watch. What is it?
12. We have time.
Give it like 2 weeks. We'll give you more details. But we'll get off our back. Great segment. Get it off our chest. So this is this segment we do every single week. Positive, negative, football, housewives, life, wine, quarantine, anything that you just want to do. Positive, negative. So go ahead, guys.
I wanted to give a whole long rant, but I am just going to keep it short. I was a little bit behind on Roni, so I actually just caught up on the second to last episode, which was the first Cancun episode. When Lee's first get to Mexico, and I watched it right before we did the show, and I was just raging and fuming over how much I hated Ramona throughout the whole thing.
Listen, I told you. This whole season.
I don't understand why she accepts Sonia's behavior, which is far worse than Leah's, yet lets Sonia slide and gives Sonia like this pass to do whatever she wants. And comes up, and yes, and Dorinda said it in the episode. You have what Ramona cannot buy, and it's youth. And I 100% believe, because the reason Ramona got so upset over Leah's behavior at her birthday party is because she even said, like, I don't want you wearing anything too sexy, because Ramona, it's the same reason why she wanted to wear red and have everybody else wear black. And I get it, it's your birthday. You should be this special, and you can do what you want. But she did not want, like, she would have been happy if Leah came in a paper bag, because she didn't want anybody to look at Leah and be like, ooh, who's that? She's gorgeous. She's beautiful. Like, oh, she's so fun. Like, Sonia was on a table, dancing on a mirror, breaking glass everywhere, getting glass in Dorinda's foot.
Yeah, seriously,
and she let that go. And she goes, oh my God, you could have gotten hurt doing that, instead of yelling at her. And Leah was dancing just like all the other girls and freaked out. I want to just say, Team Leah, Ramona disgusted me that episode. I'm sure she's only going to get worse. She's in a good season. She's clearly, I think it's a mix between being jealous of Leah that she's young and she's pretty. And then I think the other half of it is sometimes she really does feel like this is almost like my child, because she's so much younger. So she's almost like reprimanding her like a child.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, she's taking it upon herself, like in a motherly way, to be like, honey, don't do that. Don't do that. You're embarrassing me. You're embarrassed. Like, and it's really freaking annoying.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Ramona also sees like Leah, maybe she's the future of New York housewives. Like, I'm getting old.
Yeah, but Ramona had her awful times, turtle time. Like, let's not, that was brought up last episode.
Yeah, I just don't understand how all the women can get a pass on how they act, and Leah really hasn't done anything that's any different than the other. Not really. I mean, at that party, that's a really prime example. If Sonia was worse than Leah was. Okay, yes, but
You
in
all
the-
had their one moment.
yes. Sonia's
Sonia's
had several
right.
moments, and Ramona's let them pass.
You're right.
So Team Leah, I'm all about her. I love her, greatest addition. And Ramona, you suck, and I hope you get torched at the reunion.
Oh,
honestly, honestly.
She said it. Well, I'm gonna take a little bit of a lighter approach.
And go on to our new Twitter page to see what I tweeted while I was catching up, because it's more I tweet. I'm gonna put that in my on my resume. I tweet now. This is a skill I have now. I can tweet.
I'm on the Twitter now. All right, so I'm gonna get into mine. So it's really not positive or negative. It's just basically like
Kind of negative.
It is because I just wanted to give you guys like a rundown of college football, like where we stand right now. So I'm gonna give you the top conferences, and we're gonna talk about things. So the Big Ten. So Big Ten presidents and chancellors voted on Tuesday to postpone football season and other sports. So they hope to play in the spring. I disagree with that. The Pac-12 they voted on Tuesday to cancel fall sports and will look to play in the spring. The SEC taking its heels in, at least for now, and that despite what the Big Ten or Pac-12, they're going to make their own decision on the 2020 college football season. The ACC, they are still, they're not saying no yet, but they're still in discussions. Will come independently of other teams. And then you have the Big 12. They're moving forward with the intent on playing football. So there is that hashtag out there right now that's like, let them play, or we want to play, things like that. It's tough. We've even seen like the president tweet it. Like it's going across like everything right now. So it is hard. What I have seen though, so obviously with the Big Ten, you have teams like Ohio State, Michigan, who want to play. So Ohio State has been very vocal with that. I think some of their board members said yes to canceling the season. Other individuals within the organization voted no, and now they're looking. So what I actually see what happens here is that you have divisions like the SEC and the ACC and the Big 12. They're going to remain, and they're going to pull teams from other divisions that want to play. Think about a team like Notre Dame. Notre Dame's not in a division, so they're even just standalone right now. They have to make a decision as a school, not as a division. So at any time, I don't know if they've made a decision yet, so anyone can quote me on that or prove me wrong. The SEC can pull Notre Dame.
But how's it going to work if college football, like some teams play and some teams don't? Isn't that just going to mean tons of kids are going to transfer to the schools that are playing?
I think that's a great point. And
like I don't know how that works.
You guys should follow Trevor Lawrence on Twitter. He had an excellent rant on Twitter, basically just saying like how much these kids put into this.
It's a huge controversial what if topic.
It really is, and
people made the point. About Joe Burrow, how he only had that one phenomenal season of college football, and the kid maybe wouldn't even have been drafted. Absolutely. And then he was the number one pick. 1 year of football can change your life.
I'm not a doctor. No. I'm literally just a sports fan. I look at a lot of things though from like an economical standpoint. I know like lives are at risk. Like that. But say you take the University of Alabama, because I am an Alabama fan. You take football season away from them, that state alone gets so economically impacted. It's insane.
For sure.
It's insane. So it's not even just like, you look at it from an economic standpoint, huge impact. You look at it from just a mentality standpoint, from these college athletes who sign up, who spend their high school career perfecting their
and sacrificing a lot to get where they get.
Or spending money.
And
money.
Their families
by taking
time, money.
If they don't have a sponsorship, or scholarship, all this
traveling all over the world to camps, tournaments,
all of this stuff, and for it to just be like, what?
Yeah.
I've heard of schools where it's just the athletes are allowed on campus for a certain amount of time. Only the athletes are allowed at the gym, and I've heard that they're wearing masks. It says their name, their number, and the team they play for. They're only allowed in there. Sports is just we've been without them.
Yeah.
And we've seen the impact of it. And these are professional sports. These kids don't play for money.
Right.
Without kids playing, you're going to see the mental side of it.
I'm heartbroken for them.
It's absolutely heartbreaking. But again, I'm not a doctor.
Right.
I don't want people to without a mask on.
It's more heartbreaking if, God forbid, something happens medically to somebody. But I am heartbroken for these kids that this is the state of the world.
But in reality, when you move on to college, you are 18 years old, so you are an adult. These NFL athletes have the decision to opt out.
Yeah.
You, as an adult, a college athlete, do have the decision to opt out.
Yeah.
You can speak with your family, so I think they should have a decision to. I disagree with these conferences making a decision for the entire conference and the entire football, other sports.
Right.
I think it should be a decision. We
Yeah.
are all adults. This isn't young kids. This isn't schooling. This isn't things like that. It is athletes. You are above the age of 18.
Yeah.
You are an adult. You can make these decisions. These NFL players, these other athletes are making decisions.
And we're a football podcast, but
Yeah.
obviously all these fall sports across the board are being affected.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
soccer teams, field hockey teams.
I feel like football's really at front and center.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of tweets about it, like, why are you guys caring about
No,
football?
I care about all
Yeah,
student
yeah,
athletes.
yeah.
Anybody that's
Yeah.
gonna, especially like again, even the people this past season that
Yeah.
had their seasons cut
Yeah.
short. I'm heartbroken for
Yeah,
everybody.
this is
So
like near and dear to my heart. I would be totally distraught. Like totally. But that's
we'll keep you posted. It is really good that you
That's
brought
the
it up
take.
because it's a huge topic of
it's
conversation.
changing day by day. A lot of
It
those,
is.
the ones I just read to you, that it all happened this week.
Right,
A lot
right.
of it's happening in real time. So that's why we tell you guys keep the Twitter on.
Yeah,
keep
they're
the
talking
Twitter
about it
on.
a
Yeah,
lot on TV, so make sure you
Yeah.
watch.
Absolutely.
But okay, other things that you should watch this week. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is on tonight at 9:00, and you have time to catch that since we are live with you. But
Yeah.
it's 8:42. Real Housewives of New York on tomorrow at 9 p.m. Real Housewives of Potomac on Sunday at 9. And then I know we didn't talk about it tonight. Caitlin and I have to play a little bit of catch up. But last night was the first episode of HBO Hard Knocks.
We missed it.
We will catch up, and then we'll definitely give opinions and share
So,
insight.
spoiler alert, I heard it was super confusing because their jerseys are like it was very
Interesting.
And think about this is camp, so they're not wearing like full
Right.
uniforms. So
Well,
that's a spoiler alert if you didn't watch it.
you can catch episode 2. It airs on HBO on Tuesdays at 10:00, and then,
That's way
I'm
past
sure.
my bedtime.
No, but I know that they're probably already on demand episode 1. So if you missed that last night,
I
you
missed
can
it
check
last
that.
night by accident. Now that I know it's on 10,
You'll catch it on demand. But
I'll
we'll
miss out on
definitely,
it.
we'll definitely at some point give you insight on what we think. So thank you guys for tuning in. Happy to be live with you. And if you listened on the podcast at a different time, thank you for listening. Have a great night. Cheers.
cheers. Well, we're still live on Facebook. We're gonna end on the podcast.
Goodbye,
right now.
podcasters.
Goodbye. Good night. Then we're still on Facebook. But peace. Wait. Oh my God! I have to hit another button. Technology, right?